session on management information systems. This week we look at information systems, organizations, management, and strategy. As you know, our class website is www.vivauniversity.wordpress.com. Our objective today is to look at what managers need to know in order to build and use information systems successfully. How do information systems impact organizations? How do information systems support the activities of managers? How do information systems support competitive advantage? How do you align them alongside business models? So this is what we will do today. So we begin by asking, what is an organization? An organization can be seen from two perspectives: a technical definition and a behavioral definition. The technical definition says that an organization is a stable, formal social structure that takes resources from the environment and processes them to produce outputs. The behavioral definition looks at organizations as a collection of rights, privileges, obligations, and responsibilities that need to be delicately balanced over a period of time through conflict and conflict resolution. Another person may also see an organization as a collection of individuals who, left unattended, will pursue individual interests. So from a technical perspective, information is picked from the environment, inputs are picked from the environment, it goes through a production process, and then there's an output. So here the whole idea is that the inputs go through a production process. In the behavioral perspective, the input being environmental resources go through the structure and the processes that can influence it to become an environmental output. The other one focuses on more of a production perspective. This one looks at it more from a social dimension, in which there are structures, hierarchy, procedures, rights, values, and norms that be in the organizational culture, which influence the manner in which the resources are combined, they are managed and deployed to produce an output for the environment. So all organizations have characteristics, being common features. For example, a clear division of labor, a hierarchy, explicit rules and procedures, impartial judgments, technical qualifications for positions, and maximum efficiency. Other features include the organization's culture, its standard operating procedures, and the organizational politics that may exist between employees and their managers or their senior managers. So organizations differ in type, they differ in leadership, they differ in tax, they differ in a number of features which make them very unique. So now we come to how information systems influence or affect organizations. We use economic theories in this case. From the microeconomic model, information systems can be seen as a factor of production, which can be freely substituted for capital and labor. So information systems can be used to automate processes. And when they use to automate processes, our cost of labor and capital for doing those same processes is then reduced, or may not need the same amount of labor to do the same thing that the information system does. Now, from a transaction cost theory perspective, transaction cost theory tend to characterize the cost of participating in a market. Now, traditionally, transaction costs say that firms have to grow in size in order to reduce their cost in participating in the marketplace. However, with information systems, firms may be able to deliver the same products or deliver the same output without necessarily increasing their in size. So processes may get automated. Transaction and coordination costs within the firm reduces. When this cost reduces, the firm may be able to deliver the same value without necessarily increasing in size, or even up their growth revenue, which may be accompanied by shrinking size. If you look at many of the information system firms that are coming up, most of the startups that are even making millions, they may have very lean staff. Quite a number of them have very lean staff, because the same activities that are done by individuals in the firm have been taken over. A majority of it have been taken over by information systems. Agency theory tends to state that the firm itself is a nexus of contracts with individual employees or agents who may have self-interest. Hence, they need supervision. So the firm spends more in trying to supervise and control the activities of employees as the firm size increases. However, information technology reduces agency costs because it becomes easier for managers to oversee more employees. So you can have, because of information systems today, you can have employees scattered all over the world and then virtually manage them through information systems. As employees log in into their system, you can be able to take the note of when they logged in or when they clocked in an office. At the end of the day, you can be able to even monitor the output of their division or the output of that particular employee, or how much an employee spends on a particular assignment that is given to that employee. Good. So what tends to happen is, as the firm size increases, the agency cost decreases, and this is because of the opportunities that information technologies offer to the firm or information systems offer to the firm. Last week, remember we talked about ERP systems and systems that helps enterprise-wide systems that help information to be shared across divisions and also help firms become more virtual in their activities. And when you have firms becoming more virtual, it's also good. It's also possible that the employees can be virtually monitored and virtually managed, all through information systems. So our behavioral theories enable us to understand how information systems interfere or influence the current systems of operation of a firm. For example, we tend to realize that as information systems get more introduced or information systems are introduced in the firms, sometimes can become disruptive. It can flash decision making process and make more divisions or more processes become centralized. That means that somehow it can also change the hierarchy of decision making and lowering the cost of information asymmetry or information acquisition and distribution. So managers have always faced a delicate balance, have always facing the challenge of creating a delicate balance between the tasks that are assigned in a firm, the structure, the people, and the technology that may be used to manage all the tasks, the people, and the structure. You have to find a delicate balance between these 4 points of the diamond. Otherwise, one aspect of the diamond may be affected. The information systems can dramatically reduce the transaction costs and agency costs. Information technologies like in the internet becomes a platform in which organizations can become very virtual and then rebuild their processes based on the technology. As information systems interfere or influence organizational business models, what tends to happen is that the role of managers kind of tends to change. Classically, there are 5 functions of managers. They may be needed for planning, organizing, coordinating, deciding, and controlling. However, when you look at the nature in which today's firm operates, managers tend to act at a non-stop pace. There's a lot of fragmented activities. Non-routine decisions have to be made. They have to be able to also take information and learn from the grapevine and use those information to make these business decisions. They have a diverse web of contacts which they use as their informal system to be able to get value and get resources that may not exist in the firm, and also create the value that they may need to put out there for the client or the customer. Hence, you tend to see that managers go through different types of roles. There is one dimension. They are quite interpersonal. The figurehead, the leader, the liaison between people. They are also very informational. They become the